Hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I know it was last minute, a little bit late for people like White Medea, but who's here? Tracy Wu is here from Hong Kong. Well, hello, Tracy. How have you been today? Wild Dragon is here. Hello, Wild Dragon. How are you doing? And Susan, hello. Wendy in Calgary, Canada. Thank you for joining. We love our Canadian brothers and sisters. Destiny Rose, hi there. Thanks for joining. Hello, Susan. Oh, thank you so much. So sweet to have you here. Christopher, yes, Juicy is guilty, not having a good day. We're not real sure what is going to happen to him. Sully Still Structures, thank you. Bonjour. Listen, everyone, today's show is sponsored by Sully Steel Structures. Okay. Wonderful options for you out there. You know, I love this. This is right up my alley, as they say. And I'm so happy that you're here, Marlon. Thank you. CWS, hello in Southern Cali. Steph Glows. We love you glowing and being here. Chris, hello. Mitzi, Seabreeze, Sandy in Florida, Abby. Oh, we love this. Oh, perfect love. How are you? I love that you're here. I've missed you, Kathy. Brenda, hello. Tina, Sweden. Coppertone Tony, yay! Now that's a brother who's been around. We've been what is it? Almost 2 years, right? Close to it or close, right? Kathy in Vista. Oh, it's beautiful. Locked for life. Hello. I'm glad you made it, sis. I hadn't seen you in a live chat in a while. Hello, Michelle Granger. Thanks for joining. Well, I'm glad you joined, everyone. Want to talk about a few things, okay? We've got so much going on, right? I want to touch on. We're going to touch on the what is it? Juicy Smollett, his trial. Then we have Jizzy Galen, if we want to be very proper about it. Galen. Hello. Oh, Steph, thank you. Nixon, I saw you pop in. Hello, Nixon. And Sherry, hello. Oh, Sherry knows how to write her name in the what is that called, Sherry? Tell everybody, if you all look at the way that Sherry has that word right there, that's a special thing right there. Hey, Sheridan, hello. Hi, Jim in Indiana. Oh, wow. That's where I was born, in Gary, Indiana. A steel city. That might be why steel really resonates with me. Very strong, and it is very American, right? The steel industry kept America buzzing. Okay, so I want to talk about a few things, but I want to touch on housing. And the reason why is that we've been talking about this, and this goes along with why I'm very passionate about, some of the options that are present. So tonight I titled this Vampirism, the Young and Affordable Housing. Now, if you are part of the boomer generation, please do not get triggered, okay? Because I was on Brother's live stream. Do you all know Joe Dingle? Joe Dingle and I did a live stream, and I was talking about generational type of, warfare that has been, these things are stirred up by the people that like to keep us divided. But I was talking about the fact that it's become very obvious that there is some generational what would you call it, like generational contempt, is that a good word, between, okay, listen up, everybody. Now, if you think I'm kidding, you can look it up for yourself, okay? I'm not making this up. But the generational contempt is the boomers and the millennials. My generation, Gen X, we're kind of sandwiched in the middle. And I once said something to the millennials, like, I know you guys hate my generation. And a few millennials said, no, we don't hate you Gen Xers. We don't like the boomers. And I was like, whoa. So we just kind of get sandwiched in the middle of this warfare. And we get forgotten too. Gen X, they say we're kind of like the generation that doesn't really matter. The millennials are a big deal and the boomers are a big deal. The millennials are just like the stepchild, the middle stepchild. So I am okay with that, okay? But I just want you not to get triggered when we bring these things up, because it is something we can't be in denial that this stuff is happening, okay? I'm going to share something else that was a little shocking to me when the coof, you know how Salty calls it the coof, when the coof started in 2020. My daughter, who is a millennial, but she's kind of like an old soul, so she doesn't resonate with the millennials, but she can't help but to, know about millennial issues. So she mentioned that they call the coof, her generation nicknamed it the boomer remover. Okay, had you heard? Lisa said you're triggered already. Don't be triggered, okay? All right, they called it the boomer remover. That is really cruel. And I was so shocked when my daughter told me this. So I'm just saying, like, there are some real issues here. And the millennials, like in some of the chat and whatever message boards, they were cheering the fact that this coof was killing off the older people. So we got a problem, Houston. Yeah, very harsh, right? I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked at how just, yeah, like you said, Lisa, harsh, very harsh. So where is this coming from? Because I try to understand, like, like Kamala Harris, let's do a root cause analysis, okay? What is happening, okay? Because I am going to be like a mediator since I'm a Gen Xer. I feel very obligated to be in the middle, and we'll mediate between you boomers and you millennials so you don't kill each other, okay? Can we all get along? Can we all just get along? Let's see. Sandy said, it did remove many boomers, sadly. Yes, it did. I was taking care of them. I was in New York when, the coup first hit. And so I saw many, well, they were 90 years old, a lot of the patients, between 80s and 90s. And it was definitely something that you could see the generation was definitely leaving the planet. But it wasn't a lot of sadness from the millennials. So, okay, family, human family, we've got to find some balance and love here. Okay, so what I want to say is I understand both sides. I can be a mediator and I could try to be balanced. And I talk to both generations. I love the generations, okay? I learn so much from both. So when it comes to issues like housing, and that's what I want to talk about tonight, along with a few other things, okay? We're going to talk about housing and some of the issues surrounding our current affordable housing crisis, okay? So before we get into that, I want to bring up just a few things that are happening. Did you all hear that officially it has been stated in the press that the Pope is dying? Did anybody know about that? I don't know when it was first mentioned in terms of sources, but if you just look it up, cursory research, you'll say that the Vatican, they're having a conclave. Preparation is underway because the quote in the press is the Pope is dying. Not sure like the details, but he is 84 years old and he is, it says, physically and perhaps mentally not well. Okay. So yeah, this is, yeah, I don't know. Pretty much I don't know what to say. What are you all thinking? It's a lot going on, right? What are you saying? Jeffrey is saying, this boomer's okay. Millennial daughter, she coofed. I didn't. Oh, really? Oh, my. You guys. Lisa's saying, I'm at the end of the boomers and I will not be removed. No, Okay, I won't say the word, okay, but yeah. So he must be a marker. No, sea breeze. Oh my. Uh, he and his, yeah, I won't say that either. Okay, so that is one of the things going on. I was kind of like, okay, all righty. A lot of people have a lot of strong feelings. I've lost a lot of Facebook friends, I'm going to tell you, because I told you all that I was involved in the pro-life, movement a few years back. I was engaged with lots of Catholics. In fact, I was christened a Catholic as a baby. My father was Catholic. He converted to Judaism, and he, I think, has since converted back to Catholicism. He loves Catholicism, and yeah. But anyway, what can you say? So I would say things about, I just shared a picture. It was just a picture of the Pope, and it was, a child, and it was like he was kissing the child in the mouth. And I didn't say anything but just share the picture. Oh, some of the Catholic people that were on my Facebook friends list, they had fits over that. Just me sharing a picture. And they will accuse you of photoshopping pictures and all kinds of things. And I get it. It's very hard to come to terms with, especially religious leaders. And you want to see them in a certain way. I'm telling you, the cognitive dissonance is very strong when it comes to religion, right? Very, very strong. But the picture spoke for itself. And I had people, they were justifying it. They were saying, that is one of the most loving things, but he was kissing the young boy in the mouth. So I'm just a little weird. I just don't like it. I didn't like when Will Smith did that to his son. Remember Will Smith? He grabbed his son and he was kissing him on the mouth on a TV interview. It was so cringy, so uncomfortable. And it was such a violation of his son. I mean, I didn't see that as loving, because the son was, he was cringing. He was recoiling. He was trying to keep his boundary. Did you all see that when Will Smith did it? It's disgusting. Yes, it's nasty, nasty. And I do not like it, and I will not ever, ever, ever condone it. I'm sorry. I don't see anything loving about violating a child's boundaries, because children should have boundaries that are respected. So without getting into that too much, another thing that has happened that is going on is Juicy Smollett has been found guilty on 5 out of 6 charges for his race hoax, okay, a la Kamala Harris, and you all said Cory Booker involved in some way, allegedly. So, Juicy Smollett, I'm going to tell you, as a so-called Black person, when I heard about his shenanigan, I'll call it, I didn't believe it. Not 1 minute. As soon as I heard it, when you hear something, you're like, this is goofy. It doesn't sound right. Everything about it was goofy. So again, for anybody who doesn't know who this clown is right here, he played on a show Empire, and he's from a family. If you all don't know, he has a pretty big family, and a lot of his siblings have been in entertainment as well, like really good actors. Like he has a sister who's been in movies and stuff. So they're a big family, the Smollett family. They are an interracial family. I know a lot of interracial people that are woke. They only talk about being Black, right? The Black side, but he is half Black and half white, okay? So both of us have to claim Juicy, okay? You're not going to just push him off to the Black people, okay? White people, you have a 50-50 stake in this guy right here. But anyway, this clown, I'm just giving the people who don't know who he is. We get international people. Okay, so he's an actor on it was a popular TV show. And Juicy was in Chicago, okay? Or as my mother says, do not laugh. I better not see you teasing my mother, but she calls it Chicago, okay? So he was in Chicago, and I will correct you if you don't say Chicago. All right, 3 in the morning, getting a Subway sandwich because that's what you do in Chicago when it's negative 100 degrees, right? You go get a Subway sandwich. So he's on his way to Subway, and two Trump supporters in MAGA red hats, Chicago, I'm sorry, I said Chicago, they attack him. They put a noose around his neck and they pour bleach on him. Okay. And they say, this is MAGA country. This is Chicago again. If you know anything about Chicago, I doubt that you would find anybody in a MAGA hat, right? So he goes and reports this, and this clown still had the noose around his neck when he had the police come to his apartment, condo, whatever. They had to ask him, I think, to take the noose off. Unreal, okay? So, what are you going to do? I mean, this is really something. And oh, it's just a coinky dink that Kamala, she had a bill, anti-lynching bill being pushed through. These people are, at this point, they are a joke. It doesn't make, you can't make sense out of it. Don't ask anybody to make sense out of it. But he went along with it because he's an actor. He had to do it, I guess. You know, you never know. This was maybe a way for him to go up in the ranks in his career. I'm not sure. But anyway, we all knew, the black people knew he was lying. Okay. Nobody was buying this. Come on now. So he has been running amok for how many, was this 2 years ago? So he's been free and running amok. But now, do you think he'll go to jail over this false report of racism and lynching or whatever? What do you think will happen to him? Do you think he's too cute for prison, maybe? I don't know. He's a little too cute for prison to me. But let's just, I'm going to go back to this right here because I want to talk about vampirism when it comes to housing. If anybody is a realtor in the chatmosphere, let me know if you're a realtor. Let me know. I would love to hear your take. Miss En, my city, Seattle, has zero affordable housing. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Hey, Jeff, Jennifer, whoop, whoop, and meet Polo. Yes. So, yes, monkey speaks Chicago or Chicago. My mother, when she says it, I almost pulled all my hair out. Okay. But I have just had to if you can't beat them, join them. Okay. So I have to say Chicago. What are you going to do? Can't correct her. So let's see. What else are you saying? Abby is saying, hey, Miss N, same with Burlington, Vermont. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And surrounding areas, all built for wealthy out-of-staters. Yes. Hi, Sunny Day. How are you? Thanks for joining. You've been in realtor. Oh, you're a realtor in the past, currently not practicing. Okay. So if you need to, anybody, I welcome fact checking. I like when you fact check me. I don't like when you call me names, but if you fact check me in a nice way, I love it. So have at it. Okay. So I want to talk about what I call vampirism because I'm going to go on a little rant. I'll try to keep it toned down, but I want to say that there is a man in my community. He's a boomer. Okay. And we were talking, we've talked over the years. He owns lots of property in the area, commercial and residential property. So I was talking to him and, he was just sharing about what he's been up to, because I wasn't sure if he was okay. You start to wonder about the older people that are in your community. You want to check on them if you hadn't seen them in a while. There is one older lady I'm really wondering about, because literally her house has been just like, I don't know her. I just know somebody that knows her, but I need to like reach out and see if she okay, because she was always doing stuff around the house. I always saw her, but I haven't seen her in a long, long time. So check on the older people, please. I don't need to remind you about that, but just do it, okay? So you love my rants, Monkey Speaks. Oh, you do? I'm going to try to keep this less cuckoo, but I'm going to try to keep my composure, okay? So anyway, you're an agent, Abe? Oh, you're an agent? Recently licensed. Congratulations, Abe. So listen, and if I say something wrong, you can even jump on. Whoever wants a link, you want to join me, let me know, because nobody ever joins me when I send my invitations out. So anyway, back to, I was talking to this older man, and I was talking about just the issues in the housing market and how it prices out younger people. Well, his response was, well, they've made bad decisions. Okay, they've made bad decisions. The young people, okay? And he just, he was bragging about how he has so much property, so much, and he goes fishing and he does whatever he wants. I was thinking, wow, that might be why these millennials might not like some of the boomers, possibly. I don't know, boomers. He's not a good representative by having that kind of response, basically blaming the young people. Now, I want to say this. I told you all that I'm a barber. I haven't been doing any barbering. I miss it. I probably need to do that, for God's sakes. It's a lot of issues around why I'm not doing it anymore. We could talk about that a whole other time, but I loved it. Okay. So, what was I going to say? Okay. Yeah. So when I was in barbering school, I went to Salt Lake City to take a very compressed barbering course. And a lot of young people, of course, take barbering, and they come from all backgrounds and whatever, all ages too, but a lot of young people. So I've always loved being around young people and talking to them, and if I could share wisdom, if they listen, I mean, I like to do that too. And they just keep you sharp, and I would look at how they would struggle. And it was sad, okay? Like if I could do anything, like buy them lunch or whatever, treat them to dinner or whatever, I would do whatever I could. But the thing that really hurt me is that a lot of them had to compile into apartments. Like they couldn't afford apartments on the little bit of money that they make at these type of jobs that they would have. And so a lot of them would have to pile in, or they were just like, they were homeless at times, some of them sleeping in their car, lots of issues like that. And it really hurt me. And I could feel for them, even though some of them had kind of dicey backgrounds. This might have been their last stop before going to jail. Like maybe they worked it out with the courts that they would take a trade and avoid going to jail, because some of them had criminal, backgrounds. But just, sad, because then I was learning a little bit about Salt Lake City. For anybody who doesn't know, it's a beautiful area, and they have an area, and I can't think of the name right now. It's kind of south of Salt Lake, where they're building it up to be like Silicon Valley. So they're attracting a lot of the Silicon Valley kind of millionaire type of people in that area. So somebody who was from the area, they told me that they jacked up the rents. The rent used to be basically, you could get an apartment, many types of apartments in a lot of areas for say $700. So two young people could definitely split that and it would be doable. But the rents went from 700, like a situation like that, to almost maybe twice that. And the person said that they watched that happen in a short period of time. And I want to say that this is happening a lot in a lot of areas, especially if they are absorbing a lot of the California people, because the California people are moving to Texas and other places, and they have a lot of money because they've sold homes in California. So they come to places like Texas, and it's like, whoa, hooray. They're having a good time in the real estate market. So what is happening is the greed that happens, in people's hearts. They're raising the rents and the housing prices to cater to the Californians. You say Draper? That sounds familiar. Draper, Utah. Is that where it is? Possibly Draper. It's another name I can't think of. South of Salt Lake, when you're going directly south. What is that? You think Alpine? Possibly. You say Park City, Libby. Not Park City, right? That's more, isn't that going east of Salt Lake? Yeah, Park City is way expensive. I mean, that place is beautiful, really, really expensive. There's no way a young person could even think about doing a starter home in Park City, Utah. That's a definite no-no. And Sandy, you're saying Hollywood is taking over Georgia? Yeah, especially Atlanta, where Atlanta had very excuse me, I have hair in my face. Atlanta had very affordable housing. And when you had all this like Hollywood moving to Atlanta, you see that the housing has gone up. And it's kind of ridiculous. Also, in my hometown, Philadelphia, the housing prices have risen because a lot of New Yorkers have moved to Philadelphia. So they are used to very, very, you already know, some of the highest rents in the country. So the people that own, properties and stuff, they are catering to that, and they're not taking account of the people that are from the area. So there's a lot of greed here. And I just want to say, Abby is probably saying what I'm feeling. Yeah, it's criminal. That's the word I used today, Abby. It is criminal. So all lower income winds up homeless. See, it is criminal, the greed that is going on. So there you go, Cindy. That's it. Lehigh. That's what I was trying to remember. Your Utah. Yes, Lehigh. Exactly. Yes, it is crazy. So I just want to say that, okay, boomers, I'm not just like picking on you just to be cruel, but I'm saying check your heart, because if anybody feels like this guy, which I've heard a lot of boomers say things like that, oh, the young people, they just make bad decisions. What? I almost went off on this man, but I reserved my emotionalism, because when you're talking to certain people, especially if they're business people, you want to like debate them in a way that they can maybe listen and hear. And I know sometimes women, we could be emotional and men are not listening to us. We sound like the teacher from the Peanuts, blah, 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 blah. So I kept my composure talking to him, but I said, no, I don't think so. It's not bad decisions. It's that we are not leaving the young people anything. We're leaving them debt. We are not concerned, a lot of us, and I'm even saying my generation, Gen X, we have to care. And I know that, you could bring up a lot of things about what the young generation is doing, but I'm just going to say, whose fault is it? I mean, we raised these people, we raised them. We tried to give them all this stuff. I told you about my daughter and her generation. And when I would go to her like ceremonies at school, everybody got a trophy for something. I remember sitting in this presentation, I wanted to scream. I really did. I was sitting there and I was like, when is this going to be over? Like this can't be life right now. I wanted to just stand up and say, stop the madness and run, because every single child was receiving a trophy for, oh, You get a trophy for blinking your eyes correctly. You get a trophy for wearing pink on Thursday. I mean, it was like everybody. And, you know, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings going on merit. You know, the whole thing about valedictorian and all that, they look down on that stuff now. They attack the valedictorian, you know, for being an achiever. So it's a weird thing right now that we have allowed this to happen. And so how can we be surprised at the way that the millennials respond to life? Okay. So I just want to appeal to Gen Xers and boomers to check our heart and try to be a solution, try to be the change. Can we just do something to help them? I have some ideas I want to share, but we have to admit that we have not given them anything but a pile of problems. Because when a boomer started to get married when they were younger, one income could raise a whole family. Am I lying? Fact check me. One income for boomers when they became adults, young adults, they could get a home, you know, the cute picket fence, the golden retriever in Levittown, the little cute cookie cutter track home. They could get that, and one person worked. One person income. They could send their children to college. Their wife could stay at home. And they could have vacations. And they could do nice things, right? Now, young people, if millennial couples want to do a starter home, how much are starter homes, Abe? Drop it down in the chatmosphere, Abe. How much is a starter home? Does anybody know? Throw it in the chatmosphere, because you know what? This helps us all. We could see the social proof. Please drop in the chatmosphere what is the going price for a starter home in your area. I want to see what you drop down there. Abby is saying a starter home, 285 to 300,000. Okay. Destiny is saying 500 plus. Chris is saying 200, at least over 200,000. Okay. Let's see. Anybody else want to drop some more prices for starter homes in your area? Anybody? Abby says, I have cousins in Levittown. I'm not picking on Levittown. I'm just saying Levittown is known as the first tract home community, right? Am I right? Fact check me. Fact check me. I love to be fact checked. Uh-oh. Miss Ian says, in Seattle, 1 million plus. Starter home, everyone. Sunny Day says, nothing decent here under 200,000. Kristen, 200,000. Lisa's saying 500 plus. Jeff is 225. When you guys hear a black woman say, that's when you, do you know what I'm talking about? When a black woman does that, that is like, it is a lot being said when we go, that, look at that. 350. Steph is saying 180 to 250. Y'all gonna hear me doing the a lot. 35,000. Well, that doesn't sound bad. I am. Thanks for joining. 350,000 in Baltimore. Salih is saying 150,000. Not as bad. I mean, that's a little bit doable. We're paying 65 for ours. Your niece is paying 145. That's not bad. You're in Boston and you're saying a starter home you can get in Boston for 35,000. Well, that's good, I am, because I want to say, like, I know in Boston, I have a cousin who graduated from a really, really fancy school. And that's one of the things I'm saying. My cousin, I would just be like so hurt that she has to pile in with other, women to be able to afford Boston. Boston is super expensive from what I understand. I don't know where, like, you could find a starter home. That's good. They need to contact you in Boston, because I'm telling you, Boston is woo. 350 is an average price. So for you math people, Jacqueline is saying Shenandoah, PA, you say 50,000 to 250. Okay. Well, how much money do you have to make, pretty much like hourly, to be able to afford these kind of starter homes? I mean, how much money does a person have to make hourly or yearly? Can somebody drop it in there? A good mathematician, please. I mean, I would like to know, like, because a lot of the young people, like I'm saying, that I was engaged with in Utah, they were working minimum wage jobs. So Cindy is saying 200,000 and up in Utah. Yeah. So Sunny Day is saying back in 87, your first home was a fixer upper for 45,000. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad for 87, where I don't know what area you're in, but yeah, Lisa said you have to sell your soul, pretty much, right? So Susan is saying, don't forget, our Massachusetts nickname is Taxachusetts. Very hard to be retired and keep your home. See, that's the other end of that. Thank you for bringing that up, Susan. Thank you for being here. So we're dealing with the older generation, some of them that haven't been as fortunate as the older man I was talking to, who he just goes fishing and does what he wants, and he can sit on properties and not sell them. He doesn't even negotiate hardly. He just, oh, if you don't want to pay the price, he'll just keep it for years, okay? But some older people are having the problem where they cannot sell their home, so they're kind of sheltering in place in a way, because they couldn't sell their home that they got back, like I said, when you could get a starter home. Some older people are still in their starter homes, right? I see that they're in their starter homes, and if they tried to sell that home and try to get one now, they couldn't do it on their retirement. So Kate is saying you'd have to make $150,000 a year in Washington, D.C. So there you are. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. 150,000. Mitzi is saying in Southern Illinois, 160,000-ish for a nice starter. Perfect Love says a minimum of 50 to 75,000 annual income. Okay, so are a lot of the millennials making those kind of salaries? I don't think so. I mean, a lot of them are doing these what do you call these, gig economy type of jobs. They're Uber drivers, they're, whatever else. You see how the corporations had started to downgrade people, so you're not a full-time employee. They played that game. So I'm just saying, this is not fair. This is, like someone said, this is criminal. It's absolutely criminal that we should, expect them to be able, like, okay, that is the reason why a lot of them are not marrying, because a man, who wants to be a man, a provider, or as Kevin Samuel says, a high value man. I'm always bringing up Kevin Samuels. Yes, a freelance economy. That's what these young people are living in, a freelance economy, or working for Amazon. There you are. So if a man wants to be a high value man, he wants to be a provider and a protector, and he wants to have a family and start out and try to get a starter home for his family that he wants to have, how is he going to do that on one income? Women staying home, that's not an option anymore. With you all drop these prices, I don't know how anybody could do a starter home. So what in the world have we allowed to happen? Now I want to read an article. Let me stop this. I want to go to a Forbes article. You know, I try to get little articles. So I don't have many today, but I just have this Forbes that is talking about, let's make it a little bigger here. There is no easy fix for the affordable housing crisis. Although housing is a basic human need, let me know if you agree. Do you agree that housing is a basic human need and a human right? I want to know what your opinion is there. Of course, I think you know it's a human need, but do you believe that it's a human right? Okay, affordable housing is increasingly difficult to attain for many Americans. Housing is considered affordable if it consumes less than 30% of a household's total income. Nearly half of the 43 million renter households in the US are housing cost burdened, meaning they spend more than 30% of their income on housing. Severe cost burden renters are spending over half of their income on housing. The lack of adequate affordable housing has a host of negative effects on a community. Housing cost burden families experience greater stress relating to food security, healthcare, look at that, healthcare, retirement, transportation, and overall social stability. Also, the lack of affordable housing that is a proximate to job centers leads to increased traffic and negative environmental impacts, among other things. It exacerbates sprawl and creates a lack of diversity in our communities. Supply challenges. The dialogue relating to affordable housing often centers, as it should, apply around supply. The National Low Income Housing Coalition estimates that the shortfall of rental units that are affordable to very low income households to be 6.8 million units. At our current pace of production, approximately 110,000 units per year, supply will never meet demand. Okay? Low income land use regulations and a not in my backyard attitude contribute. So, what causes a shortage of affordable housing? And I want to just say that's what they call being bougie, because a lot of people don't want to see affordable housing in their neighborhood. I'm going off script here because they think that it will bring down the value of their home. And I think that, I mean, if that's in your heart, we're going to have to start checking our heart, because what we were like before 2020, we should start reevaluating our attitudes about our fellow man and woman, our fellow brother and sister, our human family. So if anybody has that kind of attitude, like not in my neighborhood, you know, I'm just saying, okay, you could be mad at me, but I'm really hot about this issue. Back on script. So what causes a shortage of affordable housing in the first place? Oh, that's a question, sorry. Let's see what you're saying here. What's going on? What are you saying? Are you mad at me? You guys cussing me out yet? Did I say anything to trigger anybody? How's it going? How's it going? Tracy is saying it's a vicious cycle. Indeed it is. So let's see. Oh, the question again, I'll repeat. So what causes a shortage of affordable housing in the first place? local land use regulations. So that's where we can start affecting our local politic. Okay, everybody. And cost are key factors. In too many communities, local zoning and related laws such as growth caps or density restrictions, and that goes for like some homes that are on properties, it could be subdivided. That could be a, solution. That's happening in cities like Los Angeles. I know people that have a lot of guest homes that are put on small properties, but that's the only way you could live in LA if you're living, in the city. Okay, so related laws such, I already said that, make it hard or impossible to navigate the local landscape and deliver the density needed to make an affordable apartment project work. Empathy. Oh no, what is that? Oh, they were just okay. What drives a demand for affordable housing? In addition to focusing on the problem of supply, the affordable housing crisis won't be solved without attention to demand. Why is it that so many households cannot afford market rate housing? Why are 20 million, mostly lower income renter households, housing costs burdened? So it has to do with distribution of wealth, of course, the shrinking of the middle class, and the nation's aggregate income is going to upper income households. And let's see if there's I'll get to a sort of summary. Here we are. I like the summary. Okay, so the summary, we know that an adequate supply of housing is an ongoing challenge. Today's estimates are that there is a shortfall of almost 7 million rental units available for lower income families, and single family home supply shortage of roughly 3.8 million units. It is very unlikely that the pace of production will satisfy the demand for affordable rental units, even with the additional resources proposed by the Biden administration. That was real hard for me to say. Resistance to the development of affordable housing at the local level, again, local level, will also have to be addressed, which is where individual business leaders need to be involved. There you are, boomers and Gen Xers. Beyond that, the challenges related to demand must be considered and addressed through federal policies that reduce the wealth gap and put more income in the hands of prospective renters to help them afford the housing they need. All right, so how do you all feel about that? Let's see what you all are saying. Yeah, I almost said that, Chris. Hey, Shania, laws and rules are slowly getting changed, but we must push for new legislation to allow for tiny homes and experimental ecopods. Thank you. I like that. And you're saying, oh, you're talking to Penny Lane. Sorry. Perfect Love is saying, need to focus on more innovative and sustainable materials to build on raw land instead of focusing on the traditional models of cookie cutter homes. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. What are you saying, Marlon? We need to get the permits, rules, and regulations changed within our cities. Thank you. That is where I want to appeal to you right now. And this tiny home movement that a lot of millennials really, I think they may have been the people that started this because they have a really innovative way of thinking. Let's give them credit, okay? If I'm wrong, tell me. But I think the millennials started the tiny home movement. But we have to go with solutions on a local level. And you all just shared what they are. Now I want to find out if you know about this, okay? That I didn't know this. I just learned this. Okay. Okay. Zillow. You've heard about Zillow. Now Zillow really punked a lot of the realtors. Hey, 8 Wins, greetings, power people. Thanks for joining. So Zillow they came into the market. I don't know what year. You all could drop it if you know a lot about Zillow, but they pretty much were going to be like a warehouse for for property, right? That you could go in and enjoy looking at it online. But they want to be a brokerage. But what they ended up doing is has. Am I still here? Can you hear me? They're sort of a brokerage, and they were doubling up homes. I've agreed these are investment firms and private equity firms. They snapped up a lot of homes. And am I freezing still? Penny Lane, I could see that I had a bad connection. Is it better now? I'll repeat what I said just in case, because I think the connection is a little weak. It's not on my end, it's on StreamYard or YouTube. I don't know. I'm frozen. Buffering. Yeah. Tracy, thanks for coming. You like this topic? Yeah. It's good now? Okay, good now. Good. I'll repeat what I just said. Zillow, from what I understand, they pulled a fast one on the realtors by snapping up a lot of property. They were just supposed to be like non-brokerage, and they got a lot of information. They were a warehouse of information. So they pulled a fast one on the realtors. And then, like I said, I'm going to repeat what I said. Private equity firms and the investment firms. That's what I mean when I say vampiric. So what they did was they bought up. See, this is when we weren't paying attention. They were buying up a lot of rental properties, okay? And what they're doing now, these private equity, is they are literally building homes to rent. Did you all know about this? They're building homes just to rent to the young people. So that is the vampirism. That is the predatory stuff that's going on. And BlackRock, thank you, Dana. Jill says you love the topic, but most people don't know what to do about it. Well, that's what I want to talk about, Jill, because it is not that hard. It really isn't, because actually the young people who started the tiny home movement, this solution is wrapped up in that movement. And I'll talk about that more. Yes, Dana, BlackRock. Okay. So these vampiric private equity and investment firms is Zillow, Redfin, Open Door, and BlackRock. Okay. So they are doing this like gush of rental homes. So what does that do to the young people? They're not going to be able to buy a home and do a starter home. They have to rent and be renters and not get the benefit of having the tax, the tax breaks and everything else that you get as a homeowner. So this is, again, criminal. So I want to say that because I'm talking about solutions, not just ranting about the problem, okay? And if you have solutions, like I said, if you want to jump on and talk to me, I'll drop a link for you if you want to do that. Okay, so this is what I'm proposing, that the older people, especially like this man I was talking about, I'm going to approach a lot of people like him, a lot of boomers in my area that got a little coinage going. I'm thinking that they could become sort of like godmothers and godfathers, if you want to use the term. For lack of a better term, we could come up with something else. And where they have relationships, because this guy has the zoning people in his back pocket. He's friends with these people, They go to the same kind of Rotary Club and all these other things. Who knows? They're probably Freemasons and all. But what I'm saying is, okay, older people, the two generations, my sandwich generation of Gen X and the boomers, can come together. And I'm just saying, okay, hypothetical, this is a example. Because I'm just thinking of quads, like 4 people, because I can't think of any more right now that it would start sounding like a cult. You remember? Do not do a cult. I'm not advocating that you do the Heaven's Gate cult. You get the Nikes and the purple things, okay? I'm not. I think 4 would prevent it from getting into the culty kind of area. But okay. So they have relationships with a lot of the people in power. We're talking local schmokel. So you have dead areas. You have malls that are dead, right? You have lots of commercial property that is dead. So this stuff could be just done away with, because I could see like a whatever. It's like a big building. It was like some like Kmart or something, not too far from me, that's been dead for a long time. And that could be taken down. You green the area up, and you do the structures, the steel structures. I'm going to go with that right now. Take a steel structure, which is very strong, which can be put up in 3 days, 3 to 4 days. You have lots of people that have skills, okay? And they could pull together and maybe put together like a fund or something, right? Because what you're doing is you're taking the burden off of the government. So why not do this? I mean, churches, for goodness sake, should be doing this, right? And you could interview, say, 4 families. They could be single people. It doesn't matter, older. 4 people. We'll say 4 people or 4 families. Interview them and have some kind of, criteria, and do the 4 steel structures. Okay? Have the land as maybe a land trust or something, or allow them to, I don't know. You all work that out. Help me work out how the land would be, okay? So they would, if they can't afford the steel structure to be put up, because you can do this within a budget that is unbelievable, much cheaper than renting anything, okay? And people could pitch in, like I said, a godmother, godfather type of thing. There are places where you can get all kinds of supplies. I mean, they have the what is it that Jimmy Carter, his organization, has those Habitat stores where you can get cabinetry. People have all kinds of furnishings that they could donate, right? Hey, Church of America, local churches. I know that local churches could do a lot. And it could be furnished. You could put you garden. So they could have community gardens. They could have washer dryer. They could have, all kinds, just 4 families, and take a commercial property that's been dead and turn it into a community. These young people, or just whatever age they are, that are priced out of the market, they will own this. They will own it. And, if you want to start to take like an idea, like attract people from the cities and make it easy for them to come away from the cities. Because I know a lot of people throw out there, move out of the city, get out of the city. It's not that easy to say that to some people. That may come off as a little bit bougie. So we have to be really mindful of that, throwing that out there, telling people to just leave the cities. They can't just pull up and leave. It costs a lot of money to move. But if you took people who want to come out of these cities, and maybe they wouldn't mind moving to another area that's more rural, and you can attract maybe more young people, because in my town we have brain drain. The young people can't wait to run to the city somewhere. So to retain the young people, or maybe attract them and help them to maybe learn a skill. Like I was saying, it's not that crazy to think about learning how to make soap, learning how to make candles, maybe learning how to make pottery or anything else, bread, anything else. They could start a garden. They could literally become a cottage industry self-sustaining community. And then the older people would become mentors to them, like agree to mentor them. And this could be done in our areas. And we have so much open area in this country. I drove across the country once. I drove from Philadelphia to Los Angeles. Nothing but open land all over. Why does everybody have to be compiled in the cities? Because America had an industrial revolution. We don't have that anymore. There's no reason for everybody to be piled up in Philadelphia anymore, in Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago. I mean, there's no need. Where I grew up in Philly, we had so many factories that are now gone. And that's why people move from the south up to the north. My grandmother worked at Campbell's Soup over in Camden, New Jersey. These are the kind of jobs people moved up north for. So because we don't have an, like I said, industrial revolution, we don't need these cities. How about starting to, kind of populate the cities and start to absorb the people in the rural areas, and then starting to revive these areas with different kinds of industry, more cottage industry, local, taking away from the big box stores. And this will take care of so many problems. You heard me read that healthcare is an issue. Food security is a problem. Homeless veterans, Dana says, there you are. Somebody, lots of people have the veterans at heart. This is something that could be done. Like I said, think about 4, like a quad. And I'm just throwing out godmother, godfather type of thing. And you could try this out as a pilot program. But this is the way to get involved locally. And steel structures. Some of them, now I'm doing nothing but looking at tiny home stuff. Like I said, I have a cousin who's addicted to the tiny home movement. I've been looking at so many tiny homes. One woman took a shed. Her husband, and her 5-year-old son live in a shed that was converted. Let me tell you, this was like a jewel box inside. This woman was brilliant in terms of decorating. And this is a way for us to stop the materialism that's really killing our soul. You know how they say, if you haven't worn it in 6 months, you don't need it anymore. This is going to be good for the mental health of Americans to start to declutter. I have an ex-friend who is a hoarder. She is a total psycho. You cannot even help her. If you try to tell her like we should get rid of this, she can't do it. It's a mental disorder at this point. This is a way to heal the mentality and all of this crap that we have. So this whole tiny home movement, and I want to say, somebody made a comment on my Instagram today, and she said, wait, I may have to look it up. Now, if she's in the chat, no foul. Like, it wasn't like I was mad at her, but I would just want to share this with you because some people do feel this way. And this is that bougie kind of mentality. I'm not accusing her of it, but it was just something that she said. I want to get it right for what she said. Wait a minute. because I thought it was very telling. Okay, when I talked about downsizing your home so you don't have a mortgage anymore, because this takes the power away from the banks. Now I know my reception is going to get bad when I say that. Take the power away from the bank, okay? Eight Winds is saying some cities have a 1,200 feet minimum. Yeah, I get that. And you know what, bro? That's where we have to fight on the local level and become involved, because all of these ordinances and local restrictions and zoning, this can be changed if people get together with a good plan of how they present it and how they're helping the overall country by doing this. We can change some of the zoning, you know so okay, I said this and she said, okay, I'm not going to mention your name. I'm not angry at you. I just want to share. She has said, I remember Trump talking about how ugly our architecture is compared to the people that lived here before us to build the cathedrals and arches. Wait a minute. Cathedrals and arches. And even though this may be practical, it's not very pretty on the outside. If we're going to have a great new world, I want beautiful friggin' place inside and out. And my response was, I understand that many people are struggling financially at this present moment and don't have billionaire bank accounts, unfortunately. So practicality is a solution. Homeschooling is needed as well as office spaces off the grid. So I prefer to deal in the present situation and move forward to offer solutions and ideas that empower and inspire people during this economic crisis. And she answered by saying that she agreed. She wasn't trying to come off bougie, but I'm just saying, if you have that in your mind, like, you can't think about living in a small space and it might not look like a beautiful thing on the outside, but you know what, there are so many creative ways you can do so much with the exteriors. It's just about being creative. If you're not creative, you can get ideas from other people. And the interior, that is totally up to you. But we do not need all of this materialism. It has gotten us nowhere but to have a lot of problems, and it's not sustainable for a lot of people. If you can do it and you're not house poor, God bless you. But that's not the situation for many people. So I just want to say that there are some people, this will never be a solution for them, but we have to think outside of ourselves. You could be part of helping someone else. Like I said, the millennials and the ones coming after them, they deserve for us to be at least invested in the fact that they are not having the same, fortune as the boomers did when they came and had homes to buy. They could buy a home for what the homes were, I don't know, $7,000, $10,000, stuff like that. So I'm just saying that this is something near and dear to my heart. And what else? So that was basically what I wanted to share. And I'll be sharing more about this. And let's see, what else? Was there any Ghislaine news? Anything? I just want to say they released a lot of pictures, I know, yesterday about Ghislaine, and you could see her giving Jeffrey foot rubs and all these gross things on the private Lolita plane. I'm going to tell you one thing. That plane, it looks like it smells bad. It looked really crunchy and gross. I don't know, really gross. Like if you sit on those, like, they had like leather material, not leather chairs, but like, I don't know, it looked like velvet or plushed, whatever. It looks so grimy. I was like, that plane is so gross. Okay, I don't see how he was some kind of billionaire with a plain interior like that. But they showed all these like pictures of them, they look cuddly, on vacations. They have like fur hats together. And like I said, like she's giving him a foot massage. He's really into massages. Like that's like a thing for these kind of weirdos. I love massages too, but like he puts a bad spin on massages, okay? Just like they ruined pizza for us, massages are like real icky now. But she had his gross foot, like on her chest, and she looks so weird. But I just want to say, these pictures that it look like velvet, right? Like gross, like something that would be in the Playboy Mansion, another place. It looks really gross. These places, like if you did like that blue light, turned off the lights, you don't even want to look at what's on the walls. Oh my god. So I just want to say this. They're releasing these pictures, right? Of, trying to show that they're more than just whatever business. Who cares? That's how I felt. Like I saw the pictures. I'm like, so these are two adults, consenting adults. Nobody cares about they were, getting their groove on and all this stuff. So what? That's not the issue. Consenting adults, what's the big whoop? So what they're trying to do is just trying to make this salacious about their relationship. Nobody cares. We care about what was done to the children, because the women that were children at the time, they're being attacked in the courtroom. They're being, like I said, they're being treated like they're nothing but gold diggers. They're being treated like, just dogs, like they were prostitutes and all kinds of things. And that's the problem with the elite and how they look at people. And that's why even the way that I feel about this housing situation, you think about BlackRock, what is it, Redfin, the names of the companies, Zillow, who have snapped up all of this real estate, the greed, it's disgusting. So getting off of their grid is a way to beat them at their game. And that's one way I hope that the young generation and even the older, the aging generation that feels like they are stuck and they have to shelter in a home that they can no longer keep up with. This is a way to even get off the grid for yourself and have a simple life. I can see 4 older people doing this as well. And, you don't have to have stairs. You can put in a shower or a walk-in tub, and you could garden. You could have a community kitchen. You could have a workshop, maybe do pottery together. You could get together, have a fire pit, and at night people could come out, have a little community gathering, maybe once a week. You get together and talk about your week. You know what I'm saying? Get back to community. It's going to help us in the long run, mentally, it's spiritually, everything. So I'm going to be talking more and more about this. And I just want to say, if you are ready to move forward, you can look at the information scrolling. If you need a steel structure, you can contact us at Solee Steel Structures. And I want to see, you say you're so there. Yes, Tracy. Exactly. I can see you doing this, Tracy. You have so many beautiful talents and everything. Hey, Shania says, I love these beautiful cultures that respect the elders and treat the family members well. Yes, we need to get back to this. Tracy is saying, I could talk about this with you, Jen, for dates. Yes, and I want to hear some of your ideas. Penny Lane says, steel structures are where it's at right now. They are, and it's easy to maintain. And if you want to look up some of the, you can tie these things down, and winds of like 150 miles an hour, it will not touch the structure. So you can make these very, very, very strong. And it is just amazing what you can put inside. You don't need all this square space. You just don't need it all. You know, when I lived in New York, I realized like it is amazing how New Yorkers have learned how to deal with space. You all are the best people to teach the rest of us how to deal with small spaces, you know? They could become like the consultants of how to live in small spaces. Let me see what else. That's pretty much like what I wanted to share with you today is to talk about this. And, you know, just again, I want to plant seeds. I want to see where you all are with the whole idea and get the conversation going, because this is what I really long to do, is to work on the local level and help, especially when it comes to food security, healthcare, really like preventative healthcare. These are things that are really near and dear to me. Where are we seeing the trial? Mitzi is asking. Okay, so the trial, if you go to Inner City Press on Twitter, he is still covering the trial because they did strike down the Maxwell Trial Tracker, but I think they have a second location, Maxwell Trial Tracker 2, I think they created. So you can keep up with it. And there are a lot of other people. If you want to drop in, there are some other people that are dealing with the trial, the Maxwell trial, not just the juicy trial. Probably smelled like corn chips. Exactly, Candace. That Lolita Express probably did smell like corn chips and old socks, right? Gross, okay? Yeah. You guys are funny. Um, Back in the 1920s, a person would make only $100 a month. Their wife didn't work and they could raise a family. Thank you. I mean, that's where we have to be honest, you know? Like I said, this boomer that was saying, oh, they're making bad decisions. Like, come on now. Come on. Can't be that cold. You said his house was gross too. It was. I mean, I'm not trying to be. I mean, look, for somebody who's supposed to be a billionaire, I could do a lot better with a billionaire's budget of decorating and all that stuff. It just looked, and he had a dentist chair. Why? I mean, this trial is a joke, because if you talk about the dental chair that he had in the bathroom, I want to know who was the dentist that was making house calls. Why? Those are the questions that need to. Heck, I mean, they're bringing pilots to talk. Well, they're not bringing that pilot Nadia, but they're bringing pilots, right? So why not find the dentist? Because I want to know that. That's the question I have. Okay, the $1 million question. Who were the dentists? And why did he have the dental chairs in the bathroom? Okay, so yeah, they don't really want to do anything with this trial. So, I mean, another thing I want to talk about when it comes to this trial that maybe you all hadn't heard, they are going to destroy a lot of evidence, because you know there were safes that Ghislaine kept a lot of pictures, really gross stuff. They kept pictures, they kept CDs with a lot of this really sick stuff and videos and things. They archived this stuff like real organized with the girls, the children. So they're going to destroy a lot of that. And I don't know how you feel about that, but just think about this. If that were you, would you want this stuff out there? I mean, this stuff is really horrible. And to think that it would be saved and stored, and these people are so traumatized now, these women, and they have children. Just imagine like the torment that they're going through, knowing that Ghislaine made these videos, and they had pictures of nude children on the walls of the homes. I mean, really sick stuff. So it does need to be destroyed. It does, you know, never to be seen anymore, so that they can finally heal and move on. So you're asking, did they have a child? I'm not sure. Not sure if they had a child. so much going on with those two that we're never going to know. But hey, Tina, I'm seeing a lot of these type of homes in your area, and they're very nice. They are very nice. People are, I'm telling you, one woman took a small shed. She painted it white, all white, and inside it was so quaint. It was so beautiful. She even had a what do you call it? Like a hothouse, like a greenhouse. She had taken just a lattice or something structure, and she had it in cut, in case, and she put furniture out and gravel out, and she had, a lot of things growing. She even put furniture out. It was like like having a deck, but it was a greenhouse. So it's so many things that can be done. Beautiful, very, very beautiful. This, you say the snow will slide off. Yeah, they have they can bear snow. I forget the amount of snow, but you can look all that up. Go to the website and you can find out if you have, of course, the right roof. If you're in a snow area, yeah, burn it all, Tracy, right? It needs to be all that evidence. Yeah. I hope she never sees the light of day. Yeah. And for people that are speculating about will justice happen, one thing we can think of, all that high life that they did and go into their philanthropy balls and all that, it's not going to be any of that anymore. They're not going to be able to have their high life and live it out in the open. So that's over. You won't open up Town and Country and see Ghislaine in there. That life is over for her. So I just want to thank you for joining. I'm going to sign off now. But I thank you. Let's see. Have I gone through? Yeah. Give you a little inspiration. Okay. So I want to thank you again. I love you all. And I want to thank you for the tips. If you want to tip your hostess, right there, it'll be in the description. I thank you. I love you. I want to see what else you're up to in the comments. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. Monkey says, good night, everyone. Monkey speaks. Thank you. Love you. Thank you, Tracy. You awesome sister. Sending hugs from Western Nebraska and Merry Christmas. Thank you, Jill. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dana. Good night to you. Thank you for hanging out. Patrice, love you. No, that's so sweet. Thank you. Kim Canadian, hi there. Okay. I hope you enjoy the replay. I ranted a little bit, but it was more of a 2 on the scale of rants. Hey, Jeff, where's I have my record player. It's around. Maybe I'll play it again. When I played it, it was such a disaster. I didn't have the needle. I didn't put it in correctly, and it wasn't weighted the way that but it does play. I do have records, but I want to treat you all, but I'm going to have to set it up and test it first. Okay. So thank you. Thank you. Good night, Miss Ian. Abby, thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Destiny Rose, have a good evening. Yeshua, love to you as well. Thank you. Permaculture Paradise projects around the world with hemp. Yes, that's right. Amen to that. Jamie, good night. Thank you for hanging out late with me. Enjoy your night too, Lisa. I will see you all possibly tomorrow. MK, thank you. I love you. All right. The best is yet to come. Amen. Thank you, Tracy Wu. Blessings to you in Hong Kong. And I will see you soon. Bye.